Windsurfing is something else. It's not just some sport that you do. It's something that becomes a deep part of your personality. It changes how you perceive the ocean and the wind. It takes you on a journey between order and chaos, between love and frustration. And if you felt that magic of windsurfing once, it will follow you for the rest of your life. But the industry behind windsurfing is suffering since years. While the gear is getting more and more complex, the demands are dropping, the prices are rising, the logistics are getting worse, and too few young people are joining the sport. Since its invention and its worldwide hype as the #1 trend sport, windsurfing came a long way. But it's been quite some time since its peak. The pressure coming from kitesurfing and wing foiling got too high, the adaptation to social media came too late, and the demographics set an ultimatum for windsurfing that cannot be ignored. There is no time to wait for things to get better. We have to act now. With this project, we want to show that things can be changed. Not everything at once, not in a perfect way, but with the clear goal to improve and move forward. Up until today, there was one board missing in the Futurefly range, the free race board. We took the chance and decided to take a different approach. Our goal became to build a board that costs less, while keeping the quality that Futurefly is known for, lets you fly like you should be, and is, with all the complexity involved, transparent from scratch and well explained afterwards. In other words, we took on the challenge to build the impossible windsurf board.
I'm Arnon Dagan. I'm a professional windsurfer. I'm now the CEO of Futurefly Boards. Testing, developing, designing hundreds of boards.
My name is Mario Kümpel. I'm a co-founder of our beautiful online surf shop, The Wind Lounge. And I've basically been doing YouTube videos since almost 10 years about windsurfing. I gave Arnon a call. He asked me, Mario, what do you want from the first prototype, essentially? If you ask me like this, I want pretty much everything. I want the early planing, top speed, acceleration, stable ride, the jibe, the stiffness, but not too stiff. You know, let's make it not hurt any knees, any backs.
Mario and the team are coming to me and telling me we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All of them perfect. We take these ingredients and we want to take the best ingredients and make the best soup, cook it perfect, and then make it be tasty and, and affordable, not like a 5-star chef restaurant.
Quickly realized everything 100% is not possible. This is not how a windsurf board works. Shapes are always compromises. You have to decide.
Well, yeah, Mario and I had a lot of calls and meetings about how the board should be. A lot of contradictions. So yeah, this is a challenge.
But what's so complicated about building a windsurf board? It's just a piece of plastic, no? Well, almost. Let's divide the key aspects of creating a board in 3 segments: the shape, the construction, and financials. Let's start with the shape. You can make a board longer, shorter, wider, narrow, high, slim, give it some good scoop, a double concave or maybe a monoconcave. You can give it a deck concave or not, make the nose slim, thick, edgy, round, and now we haven't even talked about cutouts, tail kick, or if the rails are parallel or not. Easy, just a piece of plastic, right? Well, you can pretty much forget about all that. It won't help you, but a few basics are good to know. Longer boards make you plane earlier and smoother. Shorter boards are more compact, agile, but plane later. Wider shapes give power, a narrow shape gives less power but more control. A thicker board often has more power, a thinner board might have less. Round rails let you jibe, edgy rails let you point, and ultimately the cutouts let you find a balance between the control and the speed in relation to the width of the shape. Ultimately, everything needs to be in harmony. Of course, also with the construction. The construction. It's just as complex as the science behind the board shapes. There are different factories that use different methods and materials to build a board. And then the brands themselves use different strategies as well. In the end, most of the time there is a foam core. To make things look easy, let's just say it's surrounded by multiple layers of different materials, such as glass fiber, carbon, Kevlar, sometimes even wood, epoxy resin, filler materials, and in the end, of course, the paint job. All these materials have to stick together, be stable, strong and light, and especially layered up with precision. Every material creates different characteristics for the board. Where carbon might make the board stiff and direct, glass fiber might make it more forgiving. However, the angle in which, for example, the carbon fibers are layered make a difference as well. The complexity is endless. This process is super delicate and mostly handmade, which makes it expensive. Different factories offer different levels of precision and quality. Some brands choose higher quality, some brands lower quality, some buy expensive materials and some don't. The intransparency coming along with that, as you can't look inside a windsurf board, is often frustrating for customers. However, generally speaking, the amount of work that goes into building one board is beyond imagination. In the end, whatever you develop and build, it needs to be sold. The simplified classic windsurf logistics look like this. There is the Windsurf brand, which has a development team which costs money. This team comes up with an idea and builds prototypes, which again costs money. These then get shipped to the factory which builds the boards. And building the boards costs a lot of money. Now these boards need to be imported to different countries and stored. This costs, again, money. From here, the boards usually get bought by surf shops. These then sell the boards to a hopefully very happy customer. What we can't forget is that the brand, the importer and the shop all have marketing expenses, which also add to the final price. The costs for development, production, logistics and marketing are very high in windsurfing, which unfortunately results in low margins for everyone and the prices that we all know.
You have to decide what really matters to you, what doesn't matter so much to you. And this is also where we came to the idea of mixing a little bit of this old school comfort, that you got from having longer shapes with the modern real shortboard freedom, snappiness specifications. And in the end, it was just that we decided to go for a full-on free race board. I really wanted a board that gives you the confidence and the comfortable feeling that you can ride it on the water for quite some time and just enjoy this railing and blasting without too much pain, essentially.
I feel that the direction is pretty clear, but then of course you start putting it with Leo on the computer, with Leo, which is the mind behind Futurefly, the mega mind. And together with me, we just put all the numbers that we have and we know, including some new ideas. For example, they wanted a little bit of a longer board, more of a classic shapes that we used to do before. All these features are going into numbers, going into a design, and going into a first prototype. So this deck concave, which we wanted to implement, is very aggressive. And in free race, free ride, any other board you want to be able to tack. So it was kind of cool to see how Leo managed to blend like a very nice deck concave into a almost zero shape where the nose is. And when I tack the board, I don't fear. And on the other hand, you get all the benefits of the lower mass base inside, integrated inside deep into the board. The other feature which I liked was the nose. Kind of a foilish nose, a little bit reversed wing shape. Yeah, if you look at the board, you will see that it's not flat in the top of the nose. It has a little bit of a round thing. over the last 2 years, I really learned to feel it on the water. So it makes a little bit of a smile on my face, you know, that there's always something to improve. And in this board, it's implemented inside. You know, you see it coming out of the CNC machine, and you're like, okay, this is good, you know. You're always curious because the machine goes like this or like that, you know, and you are kind of waiting because there's a piece of foam still thick, and then the tail is coming to life, and then you're like, and you kind of need to wait until all the board is done to see the total outline. We managed to hit it good, and yes, the harmonic feeling of the board straight away, the first one, the 115, was like.
Have to meet somewhere to get started with working on the prototypes. We had a lucky coincidence. There was an event in Poland, the King of the Bay.
As you can see by the flag behind me, we are in Poland.
You know, the first thing I really wanted to do is to have a glimpse on the prototype, and I just see this raw, fully made of carbon prototype. We took the Dark Horse 117, we took our 115 free race board prototype, tried the prototype compared to the Dark Horse to see, you know, if we kind of matched what we're trying to do. And I step on the board, and it's straight up it was just interesting, to be honest. So I come back to the beach and I tell Arnon my feeling, you know, I tell him, you know, it's planing super early, speed feels good, but we're missing grip, you know, it's moving a bit.
I was not worried at all with the testing. I'm sure I know what I'm doing, and I've tested with so many people before that I know how to guide. You know, because Mario was never experienced in testing before, I didn't know what to expect. I was pretty surprised that his feeling was very good. You know, in testing, it's either you have it or you don't.
I didn't know if I have the ability to really feel small details on a prototype. But then when Arnon told me, yeah, you're kind of right with what you're feeling, and he even told me that I felt some things that he couldn't feel right away, I was very happy.
It's always nice to see how people react when they jump on something new, you know, with the different levels. So it's this back and forth is really interesting. The biggest weakness was that I felt it's a little bit too jumpy, like the nose was lifting a little bit too much, and I felt the board also was not planing very good. And I was sure that the cutouts were the ones which are making the issues. So yeah, this was the weakness, but the strength was that I felt the rocker is good. I think this is one of the most important things, that you, like, once you go on the water, you feel this smoothness, like and the release is nice, and you just feel a clean feeling. You know, yes, you can cut it and change the rocker, and you can do a lot of things, but it's kind of a major deal breaker. So it's like, okay, we can work with this pretty easy.
Poland really, you know, it made me realize the crazy challenge that we have ahead of us, but we're also confident that if we manage to do it, the result can be something truly amazing. The next step was to work on the 115 prototype. We decided for other characteristics we want to add on the 125 and the 137. It was also that time where we basically decided on these other sizes essentially.
There is two ways. One is to scale, you get one good one and then you scale the rest of the line. More accurate is to give some parameters of what that size really needs. For example, a small board, you emphasize more the control of it, And the big board, you emphasize the early planing, for example. But it's little features, the base is similar, but these little features that we need to put, making each size the best for what it needs to be.
When the prototypes were done, we kind of had to find a place that's suitable for everybody to test these boards. So we went through all the options, and of course we had Lake Garda on the table, the Baltic Sea, Netherlands, Tarifa, even going to Poland. We discussed pretty much everything.
And then there's Greece. What's better than Greece? When we started looking at it, it's perfect. You have a kind of a swell, choppy wave spot on one side, you have the flat spot on the other side. What we discovered later is that you have amazing friendly people which helped us from the clubs, around. Arriving to Greece with all the stuff was just like coming back to a professional windsurfer's nightmare, which starts before arriving. Starts at the check-in counter. You try to find the best, most friendly anticipation, person, and then you go. And you receive the shock on her face when she sees the equipment, or when she asks the question of, how many suitcases you have? So, you have any suitcase? Yeah, I have one suitcase and I have windsurfing gear. What? And then she looks and she sees the whales behind you, and she's like, oh, I must call my supervisor. And then from there on, it's how ready you are for the checking.
Ich heiße nicht Kümpel, ich heiße Kümpel.
Number one, going to the airport is being ready with answering every single question, including annoying people asking you, what is this? And then you say, yeah, that's a dead body. I'm bringing my uncle back. He died. Then you have the challenge. What do I do with the gear? Because I need to rent a car. When I rent the car, I need to go to the counter of renting the car, yeah? And when she sees the gear, or he sees the gear, this has to go somehow in this car, and it's not. So you hide the gear, but then the police comes and says, who left luggage, because you cannot leave the luggage alone in the airport and you're alone. Yeah, we did all that, shoved everything on the roof, some in the car, some in the roof, and it's the usual story. We've done much worse than just taking few prototypes. To prepare a board for a test, you need to drill all the holes so you can attach the foot straps, you need to put the pads, and you need to put the grip. And the grip of a board is one of the more difficult things actually in producing windsurfing boards. It's one of the more difficult things, and it's proved to be difficult for all the brands. When I was sponsored by other brands, I was getting the boards, and then by the time I get to the competition, I was slipping all over the place, So you get a board and it's kind of nice, but you already know that you're gonna make the first jibe and slip on your ass, and it's horrible. So in Future Fly, we actually put a lot of thought on this, and a lot of testing. And he gave me what's left of his things, so we hope that we can cover 2 boards with this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
so it's a last-minute resort, and we just need to make the boards grippy enough to test.
Yeah, we don't care how it looks, and then we put the grip that we don't slide, so we can really try to carve and not slip because it's.
And then in production, you get the perfect.
Yeah, you get it all. So.
The testing is what we've all been waiting for. Yeah, we started with the big Bertha, the 137.
What are we gonna test for? What are we looking for?
We're looking for feeling, first of all.
Okay.
Looking that the board planes correctly, early planing. We look for comfort.
Yeah.
We look for the way of how it rides. We look for the jibes.
Yeah.
We look for the entrance of the jibe, the exit of the jibe. These are the things. And then we have the reference of a dark horse. It's not like a perfect reference because the dark horse is wider. There are different boards, but we put a reference to see speed and comfort, right?
Yeah, I mean, this in the end, it's supposed to be the light wind machine, you know?
Yes. Yeah, it was really fun to go on this beautiful water with those beautiful light boards.
I just got planing like this. It just went extremely easy. So my excitement level went up right away, much more passive, getting planing experience.
It definitely planes better than this board. It has good speed. It's very easy. But the thing is that we are on totally different fins. This has a race fin and the freeride board has a freebird fin. And now it would be interesting to switch the fins and to try to see how it goes. But planing, there was no question. You go with the other one. But there's another thing that the master here is very far back and it probably makes it harder to plane because this board is shorter and the other board is longer. So master key is a little bit more forward, so you have a bit more board on the water, so you can use the rail. So when you pump to plane, the board doesn't go side to side like a skateboard, it just goes like direct and it goes.
First impression, it is planing so much earlier and so much smoother. It is very crazy. I didn't expect that at all. It's like, I'm very confused, you know, because it feels actually like a little less volume. That's, I guess, due to the length. We'll have to ask Arnon. But then, you know, when you get a little gust, with the other board I had to pump, you know, to get it going. And here you can just move to the back bit by bit and you start flying. It's crazy.
I go fast and I'm like, yeah, the board is fast, but my body posture wasn't really how I wanted it to be. And also the railing, it was lacking a little bit of that, you know?
Yeah, so one of the other things that we felt is that we need to lean back a little bit too much while sailing and that the exit of the water is not perfect. Yeah, I would say a little bit draggy, so not the freedom that you would like to have. Just had a really weird feeling with this fin.
With this fin?
Yes. I didn't like the feeling of this board with this fin. It sailed really flat.
Yeah.
And it was surprising to me.
Yeah, I must say, and I felt better on the other fin.
That fin felt way better also on this board.
Really?
It just feels like very draggy.
The fin?
But that's okay if it's draggy, but I don't understand why it sails the board so flat. I thought that it would rail the board more.
Yeah, me too.
But
it did the opposite.
It's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's that surprised me a bit.
We have something to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a few things with the fin positioning and the mast-track positioning which needed to be accurate.
Really cool to see what features we already achieved. But I also realized we have a challenge ahead of us as well. Yeah, sure, I was worried that the big board that wasn't fully there yet. I don't have all that experience of Arnon, so when something is not perfect, of course it makes me a lot more scared than Arnon, because Arnon, he was confident. He was like, hey man, it's perfectly normal. We're developing a new board, you know.
We straight away realized that the fin position was different. Between like 9 to 10 centimeters is the normal distance from the back of the board to the fin box. 5 millimeters or 2 millimeters, it can make a huge difference. The other thing was like, again, those cutouts. The material that we put on the cutout enables you to cut it the way you want. It's just high density foam. And we on purpose put it in the back so we can play with this on the water. Take a kitchen knife, cut the thing. You know, when you are not at your home with your tools, you use what you can.
Yeah, I mean, by changing the cutouts, we essentially were hoping to fix the entire problem that we had when we were trying to go downwind and rail the board at full speed, you know. So yeah, we finished adjusting the cutouts. It was time to test that board. We brought it to the water. Yeah, I went out there with the exact same setup. The improvement was significant. It was very, very surprising. Yeah, the board was not only railing much easier, it was also pointing better. So upwind performance also improved. We got to like, I would say 90%. And this is when Arnon and I, we had a bit of a discussion because, you know, you have deadlines with the factory, of course. So you have to send prototypes there in time. But on the other side, we wanted to keep working on the prototype. So Arnon was really, really worried that we missed the factory deadline and the whole project basically won't be a success because the boards don't get produced.
We needed to take the board back to the factory and we readjust it, remodel it a little bit.
He worked on the rails, mass track, even refined the cutouts a little bit more, and he tested it himself. And then, you know, came the 125, like our middle board. So I put in the fin, I go on the water, and by now I was like really open for whatever would have come. You know, it could have been off, it could have been perfect. You know, I was like, yeah, whatever happens now, it's development. We're gonna fix it if something is off.
What a waste of love.
We got one, man. Ah! You did a freaking good job on that one. It's the best board I ever used. Try it. Please try it. What the hell? I don't know, I'm feeling weird. I think I'm stoked.
He didn't smoke anything.
No, it's just, it is exactly how you want it. It's crazy. This one is a magic one. You will know. You will come with the same face of the water. Okay. Not with this. I don't know, this freebird fin, man, it goes off like crazy.
Yeah, the 125 was spot on straight away. First 5 meters, I can already feel the glide. It's just gliding perfectly, and then you have a smile on your face straight away, and then you go into the jibe, you know, and jibe's like a waveboard. Comes out perfect. It's just like one of these boards that, you know, you don't need to touch. You put it back in the bag.
Understand what I feel?
Yes, I did. I tested boards all my life. Of course, I understand.
Okay. No, but you like it, no?
Of course. How could you not?
Okay, maybe you miss a little bit my feeling because you did it all your life.
No. I keep thinking all the time, you know.
What are you thinking? I want to know.
I'm scared that it's too fast.
I have the same. I'm really a windsurfer at heart, and I'm not a professional tester. So when you give me a set of gear that flies amazing over the water, you know, I want to sail it and I want to keep going. I want to use all that amazing wind and flat water. And when I came back to the beach, you know, Arnon was like, yeah, testing for that board, it's done. It has to go back into the bag.
I don't want anybody to touch the thing. It's perfect. Leave the thing alone. I don't want it to tweak. I don't want it to get dented. I don't want it to, nothing to happen. If this goes in the bag, it's gonna get wrapped with 1,000 bubble wraps, bags, clothes, things, and it's gonna go the way it is and get replicated the perfect way, you know? So don't touch my board. Yeah, but I want a windsurf phone. No, sorry.
Since it was spot on, it also kind of became our benchmark, you know? It was like, yeah, that feeling, that's the feeling, you know? That's what we're after. And of course, you know, the 137, it had a long way now to get to that level.
Of course, when you try the 125 and you see that it's spot on, it also gives you like the ideas of how to get the other boats to the same direction in the same place. There's always this one size that will be like amazing, and then you take the good stuff from it and you put it into the rest of the size to get them to the same point, and I think that's what we pretty much did.
It got windy, and what does windy mean? Well, we tested the 115, the smallest board in our range so far.
How could you leave me alone when I
Yeah, I mean, I had in mind that Arnon, he made adjustments back in the factory. He worked on the cutouts, and you know, now I was really focused and careful to see if the board has still this sliding thing to it, or if the grip is there.
It's been a while since we did longer boards, because now with slalom and also with foiling, we just go shorter and shorter and shorter, you know. To adapt to the long water line, we needed to change the cutouts to make the exit cleaner, make the board lift a little bit more and stay on the rail a little bit more. You know, it's just like tuning the tires of the car. This is how I see the cutouts behind, you know. People say, oh, but you just change the cutouts. This is a massive change, you know. That you can sometimes cut a 2 by 2 centimeters square and the board will be totally different. Yeah, after we made the changes in the factory, the board was spot on. Stable, jibing great, you know, and controllable, which is what we want from this size, right up there. So if a person wants to take the foot straps all the way out, to put a race fin, to put the mast-truck back, you know, on that board, he can do some damage with the speeds. There's no problem of the speed.
Yeah, it worked. Luckily, my God, I was like 2 out of 3. That was a good feeling, let me tell you that. And I did so many speed runs, and it was actually so easy to ride in this flat water that I also told Anton, who was, you know, suffering behind the camera all day long, you know, you gotta hop on that board, you know, you gotta try it as well. And Anton, for the first time in his life, tried a free race setup, and it was so cool to see us. So
We could be so good together, babe. We could be so good together, babe.
how was it?
I've never felt something like this before.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was good.
Very good.
See that he could just hop on it and also feel that love. It was just great. compare the performance now of the small board to the dark horse performance, it was now exactly how we wanted it, basically. So we were planing earlier than the slalom board, and also because the board is 7 centimeters longer than the slalom board, it just gave a more level, smoother riding experience. It was just easier to get it going and to get it to speed.
I put my underwear on so I can go for loops. They're gonna fly today, and Mario will go for the forward loop.
No, what are you saying there, man? What was the last thing? I don't want to do that.
Unlike with the shape, I had really zero worries about the construction topic, because Futurefly, yeah, one of the best, if not the best construction, you know, the factory does an amazing job. And, you know, having used slalom boards for such a long time, I was confident that the finishing, you know, the details and everything, it would just be spot on. There was still the question of what do we want? And what we didn't want is a construction that is as stiff, with as little flex as like we have it with the slalom boards, because this is in the end what consumes the rider's energy, what makes it hard on your joints, on your bones, on your back. So we wanted a little bit of a smoother ride.
So yeah, I requested the factory to have one board with the construction that we are looking for. So the factory made one dark horse with the free race construction.
It's a white dark horse. It's exactly the 117 dark horse. So this is not the free race board. And it's white because it's a prototype. But it's a prototype not because of the shape, but because of the construction.
Exactly right.
Because we need to test the construction that we will later produce the free race boards in to see how it feels. But you can't do it. You can't go to the factory and say, build me prototypes of the free race in this construction. It doesn't work that way.
No. We have this to, first of all, see that it's durable and just see how it feels, you know?
Yeah.
So what it's supposed to feel is that a little bit more forgiveness, because it has less carbon than the racing dark horse.
Meaning, for me, to understand, it means when I go in a straight line foot chop, it doesn't hit my knee so much or the back.
No, it should be very smooth. And the interesting thing about this board, actually, is that it's astonishing light. It's so light, the board.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, look how light this thing is. Factory really did an amazing job, you know?
Yeah. We just need to see if it breaks.
Yeah, we just need to try to break it. That's what we're gonna do.
We need to jump it, yeah.
Yeah, jump it, break it, and do everything to it, what we possibly can. Yeah. But I'm telling you now, this thing is gonna hold.
Yeah?
Yes, because...
It better hold, because if we get this construction, whew.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we are trying to achieve a lot, you know? We want it to be somehow affordable, good performance. It should not become soft or anything. Durable, we want all these things. And the weight, we didn't put into the equation, you know?
Of course.
Because normally, if we then get a board that is not only not heavy, but light,
yes,
then it's
we're
close to an impossible.
This is very promising.
Already.
Let's face it, we got a nice surprise when he lifted that board, no?
Yeah.
And now we just need to see if it's holding good. There you go. So can't wait. We need to go on the water now.
We need to go on the water.
It's windy.
We were kind of sharing the work a little bit. I was responsible for testing the smoothness of the ride of this board, and Arnon was kind of responsible for testing it to the extreme. Man, the guy, he's notorious for his jumps, and he said he's gonna do the beta test.
Yeah, the pita method is just like landing a jump flat, just like you bang a bread until it becomes a pita. So not good for me, but good for the testing. I mean, the layup is the way the materials are being laid. The base is always good, so we start from a very good base. So the PVC RX is made by Switzerland. It's like the best there is, and then carbon is from Italy. All the ingredients are very good, so now it's just a matter of how we lay it on the board to create what we want to achieve, which again is mixture of performance and comfort. Yeah, so there is a mixture between glass fibers and carbon to reinforce, but to also hold structure in the places that we want a more direct feeling versus the places you want to feel that you are smooth on the water and you don't get this like knee breaker, I call it, you know? The results of testing the construction were really good. I actually expected it, you know, there's nothing.
Rhodos was done. I just wanted others to feel what I felt with these boards. I'm using that word a bit often, but again, we were inspired, and Anton and I, we were sitting in the plane and we were also already thinking now about the graphics for these boards. He started basically drawing ideas, and that you now can think about what design can we give these boards to make it complement the shape.
Of course, I'm very happy with the final results, otherwise they would not go into production, of course. After we sent the actual board into the factory sent us a chart of the specifications. Actually, every 10 centimeters, how is the V, the mast track, the fin box, everything. And then you can compare to what you did. And then they would send the whole thing perfectly. They put some material on it, and then it goes into the mold.
Christoph and Anton arrived in Malaga, and I could finally welcome them here in Tarifa. They had two beautiful, big, full board bags full of White Tiger final boards with them. The excitement was real, not just for us, also for the entire Wind Lounge team, for Arnon, for his team. Everybody wanted to know how do these boards look. I don't know where to start. With which one are we gonna start? Small one? Medium. Let's do this, okay. Oh! I hope I won't cry. I'm serious. Oh my God. Bro, Anton, look at this. I see the tiger for the first time. I'm not okay. Oh yeah, it feels very stiff and it looks very nice.
Maybe we do it quick.
Quick?
Yeah.
Okay, we do it quick.
3, 2,
1. Oh wow. Shoo!
There it is.
Whew. I'm quite nervous, bro.
Nice.
Good job, bro. Wow. Powered by Future Fly and Wind Lounge. Look at that beautiful rail shape, man. Did they write my name correct? Oh my God. Oh my God.
There's a feature on the board.
The QR code leads to the White Tiger website, where we will upload tutorials and guides on how to tune the White Tiger for the best windsurf experience possible.
We know that it works.
It works?
Of course it works.
Wow. Nice, right? The QR code works.
Yeah.
I have to say, I didn't think the QR code would work. I was just like, I thought it was a nice idea, and something has to go wrong. Yeah, we had basically all obstacles out of the way, and the last one was to get all of these boards on the water and see if the final production board matches the prototype performance. Forecast for the next day, we had in Tarifa 30 to 40 knots on the forecast, and I mean we didn't build a 100-liter White Tiger yet, but you know, Arnon quickly got creative. He was like, okay, we take a 33 fin now for the 115. It's a very small fin, you know, I don't recommend that. But if you want the maximum range, of course, you can do that. And now we had some time left, and yeah, really nice guy told us to go to Conil. And I've never been to Conil. It was a literal windsurf paradise that day.
We also did speed runs, like exciting, flat, go full power, like Shirin. You can hit really fast speeds with that free race thing, and it's easy.
I just had the best windsurf session that I had so far this year. I mean, what can I say? I sailed 100 kilometers that day, and Arnon and I, you know, we just enjoyed it to the max. The next day, Arnon was gone already. We drove him to the airport. Anton and I drove to the beach here late in the day, took the 125, and I just went flying. And that day I went 33.3 knots top speed on the 125. It was so good. It was the same feeling like on Rhodes. If you ask me, what would be a good scenario, you know, at least to try and get stable pricing where the prices that you see online in the shops sort of match the reality, and it's not just where like 1 year later you get a discount of, I don't know, up to 50% nowadays. I mean, this is a completely crazy situation. It makes no sense for anybody, neither for the brand, the shop, or the customer. Because as a customer, you never know when you buy gear. As a shop, you never know if you can take any stock, because if the stock is only worth half the price half a year later, it doesn't work like that. And as a brand, you don't make money. If you don't make money, you will not make any boards.
So Mario was pushing these projects to be as accessible as possible, meaning like a very good price, which I fully support. It's just how to do it is the how-to is the challenge.
To me, it's like this, you know, there's the World Cup equipment, the slalom boards, the slalom sails, the gear that is really made to give you 100% performance. This equipment, in my opinion, can be expensive. In every other sport, it's the same. If you look at cycling, it is like that. You know, if you take a full carbon bicycle, what prices are you looking at? But the consumer equipment, it can't be as expensive as the World Cup equipment. And this is the situation where we are almost at now. You know, we are in the situation where a slalom board is 3,000 euro and a free race board with an amazing construction can easily be 2,600 euro. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, wait a minute, the World Cup board is almost the same price as the free race board. So we expect customers to pay the same for a free race board. And I'm like, no, this can't go well.
It is definitely more expensive to build a World Cup race board. So the research and development is non-stop ongoing, and that makes it much more expensive. You also keep a team, a World Cup team, which is costing. In comparison to a friendly consumer board that you want to reach the perfect shape, but once you reach it, you can keep it for a while.
We need to get below 2,000 euro retail price. That was the simple task, you know. The not so simple task is, of course, where do you start cutting the price? With what? You know, with what?
So pricing a product, I think in general, is one of the hardest things, to hit the right price. With us in Futurefly, we don't have much choices because we get pretty high price from our factory because it's a boutique, the best factory there is with the best ingredients.
Let's just say this board usually would have been at a retail price of 2,500 euro. So there's a big bunch of money that we had to cut away. And you know, if you look at what a price of a board consists of, production, working on the prototypes, paying a team that works on the board, it's the marketing in the end, it's everything, the video shooting, the photo shooting.
Other things which you need to take into account is the logistic costs. Windsurfing boards are not the smallest things to travel with and to send.
It is then, of course, the structure, you know, how many people do you have in line, how big is the company?
So from the factory to the brand, to the distributor, to the shop, to the customer, there's so many stages and everybody wants to make money. And this is one of the biggest problems that we face.
We looked at every single thing. What can we optimize without losing quality and customer experience? One funny thing, for example, was that we gave the board the name White Tiger. And so it was an obvious thing to make the board white. It's a little bit that you save there. The prototyping, let's just say we were kind of lucky that it was mostly spot on and that we did not have to do 10 different prototypes. And it's also not a World Cup board where you need to bring in 10 World Cup riders to test it. So travel costs, although it cost us really a lot of money, we tried to keep it simple. There's the marketing, and this is something which I knew from the beginning we have an advantage with. This documentary, all of what you're seeing, we're producing this in-house at the Wind Lounge, so we don't have to spend tens of thousands of euro on a production company to make all of this happen, and we can, you know, film everything, make it transparent, show it, explain it, and have that as our marketing. And now you heard a lot of things where we, you know, saved a tiny little bit money here, tiny little bit money there. But let's just say the other half of what we saved, that was the hard part, to be honest. That was the part where we had discussions because I was like, I don't want to do this project if we take it now step by step every year, you know, and I want that if we come up with this board, the people seeing it are like, okay, yeah, this is actually different.
Yes, it's complicated, yes. You know, like there's challenges. Yeah, it's hard to make everybody happy, but in the end, our main goal is to have people windsurfing again.
We had to cut our own margin and we had to take very hard decisions because we're also working with other surf shops, of course. We need to explain them that, you know, instead of having a higher retail price, we have a lower retail price. We'll also be much less talking about discounts.
It's a challenging thing because in every country there's different systems, you know. Some people are trusting their local shop, you know, so you want to help the local shop being able to introduce your product in the best way and support. And in different countries you can already go, you know, from brand or from distributor directly to the customer.
We got to a price of 1,899 euro retail, including VAT. This is the price that we could bring it to, and I was very relieved that we managed to do that. We believe that changes are possible even in this windsurf industry that is in some parts a bit outdated. So after this long, crazy journey, I can finally say, if you're looking for a free race board, if you want to get into free racing, if you're already our free racer and you want to try something new, you can check out our very own board.
The boards are now available online with the best info Futurefly ever put out. You can look at them, you can see them, you can have all the info, you can ask us. The most important thing, get them and have the ride of your life.
Dit is een prachtexemplaar.
Prachtexemplar, ein Prachtexemplar aus dem Dschungel für ein weißer Tiger. Hier. Ich meine, die sind beim Aussterben bedroht und wir haben hier noch mal einen angezüchtet. Mensch, was für ein geiles Biest bist du denn? Guten Morgen. Meine Prototype ist.
It's Arnon's board.
To make it more realistic, we're gonna take a t-shirt and wrap it around this thing. That was a solid hit.
Yeah.
There was no, not. Do you have anything? Nothing.
This is from the
Summer. The straight catapult, the worst case. That was really strong. We have nothing! What the hell? Okay.
Okay,
This is the last time. I'm not,
Man.
if it's now over, it's over. Okay? I will. Should I do?
I don't know.
No, nothing. Ah, yeah, we got a little crack in the color now. Here.
Where?
Here. You can see it?